A Christmas Carol! The office tower was a beacon in the swirling snow, its upper floors mostly dark. Ellie Scrooge, however, was a persistent spark against the gloom. Hunched over a desk littered with financial statements and coffee cups, the harsh glow of her monitor illuminated her tired but sharp eyes. Christmas Eve. The thought was a faint, irritating hum in her peripheral vision. She preferred the quiet efficiency of spreadsheets to carols and forced cheer. Tonight, it was the forensic audit of Northwood Holdings, a labyrinth of shell corporations and dubious transfers, that held her attention. A sudden, almost imperceptible shift. Ellie paused, her finger hovering over a key. She was certain she'd left the Northwood Holdings acquisitions file open on her desk, its red tab visible. Now it was closed, neatly tucked into the stack. A flicker in the fluorescent lights above her head accompanied a faint hum. Then they steadied. She dismissed it as a power surge, her mind already back on the millions unaccounted for. Her screen flashed. A new email. Sender anonymous. No subject. Curiosity, a rare indulgence, pricked her. She clicked. The message contained a single attachment, a faded, grainy photograph. It depicted a crumbling factory building, snow-dusted, with a hastily scrawled date in the corner. December 24th, 10 years ago. A cold dread, sharp and unexpected, pierced through her professional detachment. She recognized the building. The old Prescott Textiles plant. A case she'd spearheaded, which had ended in ruin for many. The air in her meticulously climate-controlled office seemed to drop several degrees. Ellie shivered, pulling her cardigan tighter. She felt it now, undeniably, a prickling sensation on the back of her neck, the distinct impression of being watched. Her gaze swept the shadows of her spacious office, the tall windows showcasing the blizzard outside. Nothing, just the endless white falling. She had a small security camera feed on a secondary monitor. She clicked it open. Only empty hallways and the silent reception area. A whisper. It was faint, barely audible above the howling wind outside, but it was there. Her own name, Eleanor, drawn out, almost like a sigh. It was accompanied by the faint, metallic clang of something shifting in the hallway outside her closed door. Ellie froze, every nerve ending alert. She clutched the mouse, her knuckles white. Was she truly alone in this building? Then she saw it. Through the swirling snow, at the very edge of her vision, a figure stood motionless on the street below. Shrouded in a heavy dark coat, their face obscured by the falling flakes. But something about their posture, the way they held themselves, struck a chord. A chilling familiarity. It was the same frame, the same stillness as her former associate, Marcus Thorne, a man she'd unintentionally ruined years ago during the Prescott case. The figure lingered for a heartbeat, then vanished into the storm. Ellie's heart hammered against her ribs. Marcus? No, it couldn't be. He was gone. She pushed back from her desk, the faint whisper echoing in her ears. Her professional curiosity, usually reserved for financial malfeasance, now turned inward. She pulled up the company's internal server, searching for archives related to Prescott Textiles. Old news articles, her own reports, police statements. The deeper she delved, the more unsettling the coincidence of the date and the factory photo became. A soft thud against her office door startled her. Ellie jumped, her gaze snapping towards the sound. A small brown paper package lay on the floor, tucked just inside the mail slot. There was no return address, just her name scrawled in an unfamiliar, spidery hand. With trepidation, she opened it. Inside, nestled on a bed of shredded newspaper, was a tarnished, antique music box shaped like a carousel. A wave of nausea hit her. It was identical to one her mother had given her as a child, lost years ago in a fire. The whispers returned, clearer now, less like a sigh, more like a direct, malevolent voice in her own head. You destroyed us. Then a chilling addendum, clear as a bell. Now you're next. Ellie snatched up her phone, her fingers fumbling, but there was no signal. Panic, cold and sharp, began to curdle in her stomach. She wasn't just being watched, she was being toyed with. The metallic clanging she'd heard earlier was back, closer now, echoing from the hallway. Suddenly, the harsh fluorescent lights above her flickered violently, then died, plunging the office into near total darkness. Only the pale, ghostly glow of her monitor remained, casting long, dancing shadows. Ellie gasped, pushing her chair back. A shadow detached itself from the deeper darkness near her office door, moving with a deliberate, predatory slowness. It wasn't Marcus. This figure was larger, bulkier, an oppressive presence. Ellie's training kicked in, a brief, forgotten self-defense course from her university days. Her hand closed around a heavy brass paperweight. "Who's there?" she demanded, her voice cracking slightly. The figure didn't answer, only advanced. In a surge of adrenaline, Ellie flung the paperweight. It connected with a dull thud, and the figure grunted. They turned, and Ellie glimpsed a flash of movement, a distinct limp, as they darted back towards the door. She didn't hesitate. Bolting from behind her desk, Ellie chased after the limping figure. They were surprisingly fast, disappearing through the emergency exit at the end of the hallway, the loud clang of the door reverberating through the silent building. As they slipped through, a small piece of dark crimson fabric snagged on the doorframe, tearing free. Ellie snatched it up. It was rough, industrial felt, stained with what looked like dried mud. Ellie returned to her office, breathless, heart still pounding like a drum. Her hand trembled as she placed the felt scrap on her desk, beside the antique music box and the faded photograph. The power was still out, the cold seeping into the room. She forced herself to think, to connect the disparate pieces. The Prescott textiles plant, Marcus Thorne, the music box, the limping figure, the crimson felt. Her mind, usually so adept at untangling financial webs, struggled to weave these sinister threads together. Then a jolt of realization. The Prescott plant specialized in industrial felt production. Marcus Thorne's estranged brother, Elias, had lost his leg in a factory accident there, a tragic incident that had been attributed to negligence and resulted in the plant's closure. And the music box. Her mother used to hum a specific lullaby that Elias, a childhood friend of Marcus, had always loved. The pieces clicked into place with horrifying clarity. Elias. He blamed her for everything.